Beyond the Waves is a Hail Hail Media production. It may contain sweary words, and adult situations may be discussed. If you're in the company of underage temps, turn off the show now and listen back later. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, email us at beyondthewaves67@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at BTW Celtic Show, or you can join our group on Facebook at Beyond the Waves. Hail hail, and keep the faith.
All the road and trying to make ends meet. Yeah, all the bars grow to realize that everything ain't black and white, it's brown. Oh Lord, your life drags on and everything's the same. It's a long way to paradise from here. It's a long way to paradise from here. Every week you stand in line, you choose to put your name upon the form. And every week they have devised another way of making you feel small. Oh Lord, your life cries on, you're not living at all. It's a long way to paradise from here. It's a long way to paradise from here. You think you're tough, you think you're smart, but they know how to break your heart. They'll chew you up and spit you out, make you start again. Cause it's a long way to paradise from here. It's a long way to paradise from here. It's a long way to paradise from here. It's a long way to paradise from here.
Welcome to the Beyond the Waves Champions Football Show. My name is Graham Wilson, and today we are going to recap a 4-1 victory over Inverness Caledonian Thistle, as well as wrapping up another SPL title. That's 2 in a row. 2 of 10, may I add. Fantastic performance today from Celtic. Gary Hooper decided he was going to show up, and show up he did, as well as a sparkling performance really from Chris Commons, who I think has just firmly stampeded the Player of the Year conversation. He is the lock for Player of the Year, at least in my mind. It was a shock to learn today. I wasn't aware of this. He scored 18 goals this season. A bit sneaky. And, obviously Ian Crocker brought up the fact that he's opened the scoring for Celtic for the past 4 games today, obviously breaking that streak. But a fantastic year for Chris Commons. For me, the Player of the Year. And Georgie Samros coming on as a super sub and just absolutely bursting the crossbar into Head and Shoulders. Oh, he's so silky. Champions again! Joining us, as always, from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, it is the Rev. Hail, hail, Rev.
Hail, hail.
Lovely, lovely stuff. So I hear a cap. Is that a cap in the background there?
That was a cap. You are correct.
He's got no hair. What is this? What is this that you're drinking? This is a little homebrew.
Yes. This is a Trappist, a Belgian double beer, which I have, since it's a homebrew, I've named it the Until the Last Double.
Until the Last Double. Well, we're going to have to save that for like a month from now. That'd be, applicable. After we do the double.
The proper double.
Let's let this play out. I love it. Yeah. See Rev with like a Hawaiian shirt driving around a Ferrari in Hawaii. Gotta get a mustache. Yeah. Wow.
Yes.
That's some production value right there. Rev, what are your thoughts? Champions again? We need new flags.
We do. We need new flags.
We won the league again. Fly the flag. Fantastic performance today by Neil Lennon's crew, in spite of the fact that he was in the stands with walkie-talkies Looked like Secret Agent Man up there. Hopefully he wasn't using any of that profanity, that potty mouth, because you know what happens when the profanity is uttered. You get suspensions.
Naughty boy.
Yes. Well, in spite of all that, the boys really turned out. They put in a fantastic performance, and Celtic Park was absolutely rocking today. I mean, packed to the gills, and a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm, and hopefully that continues over the next several weeks in the run-in to the double. Hopefully we can get some of these players a bit of a rest, because obviously they've played a ton of football. Gary Hooper, as I mentioned in the opening, has scored 27 goals total in all competitions, 18 in the league, which he has added to today. So another fantastic year for Gary Hooper, in spite of the fact that he's just looked off the boil as of late, but certainly coming back with a vengeance this week. Lovely little back heel. I mean, his second goal, at the time, it looked like that had to be either a deflection or an accident, and then they show it on the replay, and I mean, it was 100% intentional.
Oh yeah.
Lovely stuff. So
you normally see that in hockey, a redirection like that. The fact that he did that, look, with the weak foot too, I think, right?
Yes. Well,
yeah.
I mean, in that scenario, who cares?
Right.
But he wasn't in the crease, so that's important. Yeah. Hockey banter. Fantastic stuff. So, it seemed as though we started off in a bit of an inverted 4-4-2, a little bit of a throwback to the Gordon Strachan era. Inverted wingers with Wee Jamesy on the left-hand side and Commons on the right. And it just didn't seem as though we could get that final sort of punch. When we did have opportunities, we wasted them. A lot of headers going wide over the bar, especially from point blank. I mean, it was really a throwback. Felt like we were watching Mowbray's team. But in the second half, first off, I mean, James Forrest comes off with a hamstring issue once again. That's starting to get a bit concerning. His sort of longevity, his endurance. He's just coming back, and it seems though he's eager to get back into the starting 11, and he makes it 45 minutes. And he did make a bursting run in the first half where the ball just got a bit away from him. And we sort of jokingly said, oh, he's probably done his hamstring there, and it turned out he actually did. So, I mean, that's worrying. That's been really the hallmark, unfortunately, of his season. When he has featured, he's been exceptional by and large, but he's missed huge swaths of the season with this hamstring issue that never seems to go away. So, it might be the type of thing now where we just shut him down, let him get some quality rest for an extended period, and then bring him back 100%, because we're going to need him in the qualifiers to get back into the Champions League. We're going to have 3 rounds of that over the summer, and they're starting in July. So, obviously all hands on deck for that. League business is wrapped up and taken care of, so hopefully we can see some more of the kids. Atajic in the midweek, the under-20, the development squad was just absolutely going off his mind, as well as Paul George. And Paul George. I love that name, Paul George. All we need is like a John Ringo, and we're set. But yeah, I mean, we have a young crop of strikers that are just just loaded with talent, and it's going to be exciting to see them. Hopefully we can see them feature, get some time on the park playing with the starting 11, and really have the opportunity to develop, in addition to some of the fringe players, Dylan McGeoch, and of course Tam Rogic, the Australian attacking midfielder. Really, I think he brings a lot of what Key would bring, but plus, if you will. I think he's a bit more sturdy and tidy with the ball. But Key scoring for Swansea as well. Yeah. All over the place. We are the champions. Get in touch. The Skype lines are open. You can add us as a contact at Beyond the Waves on Skype, and then just get in touch. It's a free call, and let us know what your thoughts are. We want to hear from you. How are you celebrating? Do you have the jelly and ice cream? Charles Green is gone. Didn't see that one coming. Did you, Rev?
No, that was a complete shocker.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he just seemed so credible.
Mm-hmm.
When he first came, I mean, wow, it just brings all sorts of acumen and a CV of just excellence. Yeah. So he's gone. And now we have another English businessman that's looking to step into that role and guide the plane directly into the ground. A nice, smooth descent, nose down. Oh, we kid the zombies or the Sevco or whoever they are. Sevco's going to die. Thatcher's dead. Yeah, and we're the champions again, so it's fantastic stuff. Rev, what did you think of the performance today? I mean, some of the players that we really criticized last week. I mean, Joe Ledley, I thought didn't really. I mean, to say he didn't have his best game would be certainly kind. He really stepped up today. Wearing the captain's armband, was everywhere he needed to be. Both attacking, both tracking back, defending, slowing down any of the transitions. F.A. Ambrose looked relatively solid until the 91st minute, of course, and got caught on the wrong side of the ball. That boy needs a nap. I mean, he's just once again dozy.
Yeah, I was hoping that after the last few weeks, performance by him, that all right, he can get a good run out and just kind of maybe build up a little bit of confidence within himself, and kind of get everyone off his back. And I guess he just gave up before the whistle blew and got caught on the wrong side of the ball there.
He needs a nap.
Yeah.
I think he's sleepy. But Calvin Wilson, once again, I mean, for me, the most improved player this season. I mean, obviously you can factor Lustig into that conversation, but I think, what we talked about last week was Calvin Wilson had the full year last season and looked shaky across every single one of his appearances, and this year he's just been absolutely a rock. No question about it. Izagiri didn't start today. To be honest with you, towards the end of the Cup game at Hampden last week, it looked like maybe he had done his hamstring and showing the signs of fatigue. There were some comments from Neil Lennon midweek saying that, once we wrap the league up, some of these players really need a rest. And Emilio doesn't want to rest. He wants to keep playing. I love that. I love to see that energy, that enthusiasm. He's eager to get out there and shine. And shine he does. I had a chance to watch the game from last week again. Just, I don't know whether I wanted to torture myself or what, but there were certain things that I wanted to examine. One of them, I didn't really have the highest opinion of Izagiri's performance at Hampden, but after watching it again, I mean, he was involved everywhere. He certainly had lapses at the back. I mean, he's never been the strongest in defense, especially tracking back. He has a tendency to get stuck up the park, but man, when he has the opportunity to set up and to provide service, his service has improved so much. To the point where it's really sort of reframed my experience. Him coming on in the second half, I think, brought a bit of an extra spark, and some of that link up going down that left hand side was extraordinary. Sammy coming on as a substitute, what a goal from him, huh?
Oh yeah, like that was just out of nowhere, and you could tell like he wanted that. That was just a thing of beauty, just slamming it off the crossbar. I was a little disappointed to see Stokes come off. I mean, a lot of people saying he didn't have a good game. He wasn't passing very well and everything, which, all right. But I was hoping since, they came out this week, said they are going to offer him a new contract. And so I'm kind of hoping that, assuming Gary Hooper will almost definitely be gone in the summer, Stokes will kind of be the new mainstay in attack. So I was hoping that he would get to play the full 90, maybe score a goal himself. So a little disappointed there. But, I mean, Sammy coming on, replacing him and scoring, you can't be mad at that. So
No question. It's an interesting point, and it's something that we're going to examine in the coming weeks as things sort of settle and we get into that, that run into the Cup final, which I would expect Stokesy really to feature in against Hibs. I mean, Stokesy always just goes out of his mind when he's playing against Edinburgh Hibernian. Right. And, I would hope that Neil Lennon would want to capitalize on that capacity from Anthony Stokes. But it's going to be interesting to see. To your point, I agree with you completely. I firmly believe that Gary Hooper is away in the summertime. There were some comments from him after the game today where they asked him, can you see yourself with Celtic going into next season? What does next season bring? Obviously nice to win the title this year. And his response was, we'll see, which basically tells me he's gone.
Right.
No question about it.
Sorry not to cut you off.
No.
How you've said it, I've said it, everyone said it. He's had his head turn. He's looking at Norwich, whatever, wherever he may go. And he hasn't been playing to his full potential, not tracking back, just, standing around at the 18-yard line and expecting the ball at his foot. Today you saw what happened when he shows up and plays, and it's frustrating because it's like, you are a good player, and see what happens if you just, give it all you've got every game. I mean, I know that, stamina and stuff plays into that too, to an extent, so that might be hard, but I mean, look at what happens when you try, with someone with his ability.
Yeah, no question about it. Shout out to Seamus. He's just getting in touch in chat. He's got Liam, Sean, and Ewan tuning in, I'm sure. So fantastic day throughout the East Coast of the United States. And obviously want to certainly give a shout out to the Boston boys up at the Banshee. Obviously, they're enjoying this today. I have full confidence in that, and thoughts and prayers with everyone who was affected by the tragedy this week in Boston. Certainly a very challenging week for that city, and I think that it really speaks volumes to the response from the city. It really means something. When they talk about Boston strong, we saw that exemplified, and I think everybody, at this point, as a Red Sox fan, shut your mouth, Rev. No, but seriously, thoughts and prayers and condolences, to anybody affected by that. Get in touch. The Skype lines are open. I want to hear from the listeners. I want to hear, how you're celebrating, what your thoughts are. What do we need to do going on from here? And what does this title mean in the context? I mean, obviously last season, we won the title, sort of broke the drought, I guess, if you will. This is actually the first title we've won in about 5 years where there wasn't a Paul Larkin book launch on the same day. So that's a landmark in and of itself. Shout out to Paul Larkin. You can find his latest book on Lulu.com, and it's certainly doing extremely, extremely well, with good reason. Fantastic stuff. I think some of his best writing in a novel format. No pun intended with that. But The Last Pearl Diver, available on Lulu.com. So I know that the green and white writer has a pint in his hand right now, and he's celebrating. But, Rev, let me turn that question over to you. What does this title mean in the context of just the league itself, Celtics standing? Do you feel as though this is, obviously this is going to be a point that's going to be brought up by, the scumbags in Scottish mainstream media, the SSB, the Daily Record, et cetera, et cetera. Do you feel as though there's any sort of hollow feeling in this victory, considering, there wasn't the competition from the blue side, cheating and otherwise? Or is this, did we just do what we had to do? We proved that we were the best team in Scotland, and, we can only beat what is put out in front of us. And, you look at the other leagues across Europe, and this is a very familiar scenario. So there's really nothing that really makes Scotland any less competitive or less unique than some of these other leagues that, are so highly touted. Where do you stand on that? Do you still have the same level of excitement, the same sort of enthusiasm and celebratory mindset?
On that fact alone, I'm going to have to say no, because I cannot compare this year to last year. Last year had so much more going on for us, and it was so much more satisfactory to win last year. Even if you don't include the 10-point deduction that they got, we still won the league by a good margin. So it's not at, it's yes and no. It's not on the same level compared to last year, and really, since it's been so long that we won, unfortunately, it's hard to go back and kind of remember how I felt, when I was around for the second and third of Strachan's 3 in a row. Mm-hmm. So, going back to the beginning of my career as a Celtics supporter, it's kind of hard to really remember what, how I felt back then and compare that to now. But I think last year stands alone, special, really hard to beat the feeling with winning last year.
Well, they really all are. That's a good point that you bring up there. They really are unique in their own sort of way. No league victory ever sort of feels the same. Going back to the treble that Martin O'Neill won after, granted we stopped the 10 in a row, but the seasons after stopping the 10 in a row, there was a lot to be desired. And then, Martin O'Neill comes in and just firmly stamps, a new era, and not just Celtic history, but in Scottish football. And then obviously, going through the years and into the transition over to the Strachan years. They all just have different characters, different feelings, and different vibes. And I think that, obviously, to your point, this one feels different, and as well it should, because everyone feels different. But I don't feel that there's anything taken away by the fact that we ran away from it and we were never really challenged. I mean, Manchester United has the opportunity to win the EPL tomorrow. And that apparently is supposed to be the best league in the world. So, I can't see the logic in using that as the basis. The fact that there's no competition and it's not any fun to watch or anything like that. I mean, if people were only going to pay attention to Scottish football because of the Glasgow Derby in the past, then they completely missed the point. Full stop. Right.
If looking at more than just the league this year, looking at the season as a whole in all competitions, that's where I think it'll stand out. Do I think winning the league feels hollow or empty or less than? I'm not going to say yes. I'm definitely not going to say that. But am I going to say no? Let's have the rest of the games to go and see what happens. I mean, I guess what we can do is compare the points total, this year to last year. I mean, I don't know. I forget what we had last year, and if we can equal that. If we can come close.
It was like 93, I think.
93?
Yeah, something like that.
I know we had more than the Rangers did from the year before.
Yeah.
I remember that. But, I mean, so what are we at now?
Well, we're not going to even come close. I think we're at 72 right now. We're not even going to come close to 90. I think if we win our games from here out, which I wouldn't bet on, just because...
So we can get, 15 more points?
I believe so. Yeah, so there's 5 points.
We come like 7 points short if we win out. So, right. So, but if we can get up into that area, up into, the upper 80s.
87, yeah.
I would be satisfied. I mean, we won, so whatever. But I mean, I would say, all right, we've had a different year. There's a lot, it's a different circumstance and everything like that. So, I'd have to wait and see, completely how I feel, how the rest of the season plays out. But, comparing the year as a whole, the season as a whole, in Champions League and everything, then it's as exciting as it was last year, but in a different way.
Yeah, no question about it. It is absolutely different. And that's what I want to touch on here is that, the reflection. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The mainstream media is going to tilt this in a negative light, as they do with essentially every sort of success that Celtic has. So let's get out in front of it, and that's what I wanted to address, is the fact that they're going to make all sorts of points, and this is going to be their angle. I promise you, it's going to be the absence of the now dead Rangers has just essentially made everything uninteresting, boring. There's not the same enthusiasm, and it's just absolute nonsense. It's a complete disservice to the rest of the teams in the league. It's disrespecting to the other teams in the league. If I was the chairman of any of the other clubs, to say that without Rangers and without now this Celtic Rangers game, the SPL is and Scottish football is not even worth paying attention to. Then you have to go back to when Rangers were still alive. And I mean, it's disrespectful to the game in general. And these are the people who are supposed to be supporting the game, that are supposed to be big upping the game. The hacks in the Glasgow press and the Edinburgh press, and all they do is just downplay it, and it's not surprising when you see these horrible television deals negotiated for the SPL. I mean, they basically take whatever the hell is thrown their way. Mm-hmm. Rather than promoting and supporting and being positive about the game in Scotland. They just sort of take their penance and they're just thankful for it, without any sort of creative idea to maximize or generate further revenues. And I mean, we're seeing the example of the absolute shambolic nature of the SPL, the SFA administration, The fact that they can't get a consensus across teams for measures that would be good for the game in Scotland. I mean, it's
Right.
pathetic, and then our own club comes out and it showers praise on the principles involved. I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me, how anybody could credit any of these morons. I mean, they're just morons. Rev?
Yeah. No. What was I going to say? Ask St. Mirren fans or Kilmarnock fans how they feel if they think that without Rangers in there.
Oh, forget them.
No, I'm just saying, like, the whole, Armageddon, and now, it's, all three competitions last year, I think maybe even the year before, and, knock on wood that not this year, but, it's three teams that won each of the three different competitions that, that's available to play in. So, if that's the case, how come, all these other teams are now winning stuff? So it's bullshit.
Skype lines are open. As I mentioned, add us as a contact at Beyond the Waves on Skype. Let us know what your thoughts are on the game today. Wrapping up another title. What does this mean to you? I want to hear from you. Rev, let's talk about Neil Lennon. Obviously, he, as we've alluded to, picked up the 3-match ban this week. Just absolutely ridiculous. The fact that he actually went to Hampden to sort of make his case. There were two people who had complained about some language. It wasn't like, there was this groundswell of outrage. Not like there would be. I mean, it was nothing out of the ordinary from any football game, not just SPL, any football game on the touchline, because of some words that he used. Absolutely ridiculous. But, it was a situation where they said, right, we'll suspend your sentence. Why don't you take 3 games? I mean, what is that? You're found not guilty, essentially, but you're suspended anyway. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So now what? And I think that he was quite right, to be outraged by it and to speak out on it. I mean, why not at this point? He got his ban anyway.
Right.
He should have just taken it up front, because they're just going to hold this over him forever. So just take it and get it out of the way. So that's what essentially is happening now. I thought it was fantastic. He had to wait a particular, I think it was 15 minutes before he'd come down on the pitch. They had the timer out, which was, just hysterical. I mean, fair play to the grounds crew that, put that together, and the backroom staff and everything. And then the countdown in the stadium was absolutely hysterical. And then Lenny comes running out of the tunnel, What did you make of his comments today after the game? I mean, obviously, last year there was a lot of emotion, pent-up emotion. It was a huge build towards that. And as you mentioned, there was so much that was going on sort of adjunctively, the death of Rangers and everything that was associated with that. Completely different feel. But this season, it was certainly a lot more factored into it. This team, much more mature, much more accomplished now. He referenced the victory over Barcelona, the fantastic Champions League run, and he also paid tribute to the Green Brigade, which I thought was a nice move. What did you make of his comments?
I hate to answer this way, but unfortunately, I didn't get to hear any of it. And I didn't get to check it out yet online or anything because the game was on Fox Soccer Plus, and they cut to commercial that right in the middle of whoever talking, and they cut to commercial. I went to the bathroom real quick, came back, and they went, there was still another 20 minutes left before whatever next program they were going to show, and they just did some crappy, review thing from, for the EPL and Swansea and stuff. So, here, Celtics, celebrating and getting ready to, have, the team photo taken with the, the banner thing and everything, and they cut to commercial and don't come back. So as soon as the show's over, I'm canceling Fox Soccer Plus.
Well,
it's so ridiculous.
Well, don't even worry. I mean, it's just a shame that Fox will no longer have the rights to anything as of this summer. Fox Soccer and Fox Soccer Plus will be dissolved because they don't have the rights to anything. EPL is going over to NBC. And obviously, beIN Sport has injected itself into the American soccer market, and those are really the outlets, and I couldn't be more delighted with it because Fox has just made a complete mess of essentially everything they've touched, including this sort of shambolic attempt to create an announcer for the World Cup. They still will have the World Cup in 2014 as well as 2018, I believe. And, they're trying the old gag of bringing a commentator from another sport into soccer. And
Kurt Menefee.
Yeah, every shot from 30 yards out is like, fire! It's like, oh my God, stop it. Just, ugh.
I mean, not to get too off topic, but a year ago when they announced that, Fox was getting the rights to the SPL and, there will be the game of the week every week on, Fox Soccer Plus, but then when there's like the Glasgow Derby or big game like that, it will be on proper Fox Soccer channel. I was excited, of course. I'm like, I went and everything. I switched, providers so I can get the channel and everything. And on one hand, as a Celtic supporter, it sucks that it's not Celtic every week. So they do change it to, whatever, Dundee and Hibs or whatever game might be.
Feel the passion of SPL.
And but like they haven't even, today was the first Celtic game they showed, I want to say, in about 3 months. And, we're all right. Yeah, they're showing the league. Good. I'm glad for that. But I mean, how many people in the U.S. are going to start being, ICT fans? Who's going to pick up any other team?
Rev, they're the woolly boys. They're up to their knees in Highland wool.
Sheepshaggers.
Yes.
Indeed.
So you didn't see the comments. Let's see if this translates.
No, tell me.
I have it on the iPad. So let's see if this translates over to the show. Hopefully, I can get it loud enough. Here's sort of the build up with it.
On Celtic TV through an audio, just an audio service. You can go to the preview site. You'll be able to see the
Is this coming through?
celebrations now. We'll be able to show you
right.
those post-match celebrations. There's the main site, Celtic FC.
This was from Celtic TV.
You'll be able to watch the post-match celebrations here at Celtic Park as the Celtic players enjoy their claim. He just goes into the stand to greet some of the fans and get his picture taken.
So they start the countdown here in a few seconds.
Countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Neil Lennon is able to come on the park.
So now Neil Lennon's running down the tunnel.
Cheers, the acclaim for Celtic's 2 in a row. Manager Neil Lennon.
Obviously gets a good hand there.
Well, talking about making an entrance. Here he comes, Neil Lennon. And the Celtic fans acclaim their manager.
I'll just play it straight there. Let's hear what he says.
Absolutely delighted. And he's going to just say a few words. And we'll let you hear the manager's words.
Thank you. Just interrupt you for 1 second. I'm all for letting the people sing, and I hope you sing really loud and proud tonight. It's another memorable day in the history of, what I believe is the greatest club in the world. Whilst we have a great history and a great tradition, I think you should applaud the present as well. We have a fantastic, vibrant, talented young team who have brought great memories to the club this year. We've had a wonderful European campaign. Obviously beating Barcelona here was the highlight. And we have retained our title, which was obviously the priority at the start of the season. However, the future looks good as well. A young team, hungry for more success, but we cannot do it without yourselves. And in my 3 years here, your support has been unequivocal. I'll pay a tribute to the guys up there again in the corner, the Green Brigade. You brought so much colour, you brought so much fun, you brought so much pride. But I want to give everyone here in the stadium credit for the magnificent support you give me and these young group of players. I hope it continues for a long time. Just to finish off what was, a very special day for me and my family, who have been here for every game and given me magnificent support. My partner, my son, thank you. I would also like to thank the board, who again have been magnificent in their support for myself, my backroom team. And I think it was pretty significant today that I don't want to single anybody out, but the 3 goal scorers today, Gary, Joe, Georgie, in my time here have made huge contributions to what we've achieved here. But it was a brilliant performance. It was a brilliant way to finish the season, i.e. in the league anyway. We have a cup final to look forward to. I hope to all see you there, and I hope to all see you over the next 4 games. But for me, you may be happy, but I'm the happiest man in the country tonight, and thank you very much.
Well, some wonderful words.
So there's the
Neil
words
Lennon.
from Neil Lennon there, the comments after the game, obviously, paying tribute to the Green Brigade, which I thought was a nice touch. I think, there should be and needs to be more opportunities for that and more examples of that from not just Neil Lennon, but the board. And we've been very vocal about that in the past, naming them, and saluting them and everything that they've done and everything that they've brought to each and every game. And obviously the Barcelona game is certainly the apex that we all refer to of just how much they've contributed and what their impact has been. They certainly get enough stick, over the course, but I thought that was good, just to refer to them directly and express some gratitude. But it did seem, a bit measured. I mean, which is fine. It chose his words very carefully. He was obviously very happy and satisfied with winning the league this season, as I think every Celtic supporter is. So it's just very nice to see that, and especially in spite of the fact that, as we referred to, the ridiculous touchline ban that he picked up for 3 games. So, the next 3 games, I mean, it's somewhat decent timing. I mean, I obviously would have preferred that to be picked up next week, but don't try and kid yourself that this wasn't coincidental, that his suspension or touchline ban was not going to be picked up at a particular time. The timing was quite important, and they selectively imposed it, no question about it. So, they can get it right up them, because it's on their watch that Scottish football has maintained this downward decline. That's on their watch. That's on their CV. And, just have to hope that there is, some sort of transition away from these just imbeciles who are in charge of this game and are just really content and out to only enrich themselves and don't have the context of the wider game and the society that loves this game in mind directly. So, Rev, your thoughts?
No, you're right. I mean, I'm hoping, I don't really know how much change can happen, but, something happened where, a new crop of people come in and, hopefully people of a better mentality could come in and fix what's broken in the Scottish football. Going back to Neil Lennon, I mean, it sounds great. Everything he said, that's what you want to hear. I understand he's, a representative of the club, and so he has to, like you said, kind of pick and choose his words a little bit. But, with that in mind, I think he said what, I hope he believes and he really feels, but, he said what everyone wants to hear. I just hope that, his, support for the Green Brigade and all their trials and tribulations is real, and, he really does support them when it comes down to it.
I can't believe nobody's calling in. We just won the league. We haven't had one call. Deco always waits until I say, right, I got to go. I'm about to get in trouble. Then he calls in. Deco, if you're listening, call now. Ah, Jesus. Shout out to Deco up in America's Hat. It's absolutely freezing up there. It was a bit chilly this morning. We had a nice little preview of summer.
Here.
Yeah, a nice little summer preview this week, and then it got cold again. So, what can you do? Chaz Duffy, shout out to him. He's getting in touch. President of the Bronx Boys CSC in the Bronx, New York City. Getting in touch in the chat room. He's saying the $15 that you're saving on the Fox Soccer Plus, it'll cover the George Washington Bridge toll. He wants you to come back up, Rev. So there you go. Get back up and see the Bronx Boys. I got to get back up there myself. Forget it. I got to wait for one of these weekends when my wife's away, and then I can just sort of do what I want. I'm Graham Wilson. I do what I want. You're right. Yumpy is getting in touch. He's mentioning that everybody's out partying. That's a good point. Everybody's out just, they don't want to talk to me. They just want to go out and drink their beer and celebrate. Glasgow Celtic champions. Look who turned up. Now joining us from America's Hat, it's Deco. Oh, did he hang up?
He got tired of you.
He did.
I'm going to hang up on you. That's terrible.
There he is.
That is the biggest crime of the century. But who cares? Champions, champions, away, away, away. Thatcher's dead. The Huns are going to die again. Away, away, away. Go on, you. Oh, I was about to swear. You gunpig.
Ladies
We
and
won the league, the Huns are dying again, and Maggie is burning. Life is effing brilliant.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now joined by the president of the Aurora Celtic CSC.
I'm president because they're going to kick me off after that rant.
No, come on, you good thing. The past 2 years, we won 2 leagues in a row. President for life, I say.
Let's not go too far now, okay, Graham? Whoa. Stop the press.
I've just appointed you. You're president for life.
No, forget it. Thanks, but no thanks.
When are you going to get Darren O'D up to the friendly confines of the Aurora CSC?
When am I going to get down to the friendly confines?
No, Darren O'D. He scalped the Hun.
What are you talking about? Are you high?
Okay, Darren, you've heard of this guy, Darren O'D.
Oh, sorry. Hello. Wake up, fucking brain. Sorry. Oh, there you go.
See, now he's going, and you went off with a hello. I'm starting to have questions then.
I put 3 in there, not 2, okay? So you're safe.
Fair enough.
Mr. O'Day, yes, I'm trying to get a hold of him, and he's not. He's quite vocal, but he's not quite good at getting his finger out and getting up here, particularly after yesterday's TFC result. But who cares about TFC? We're the champions, baby! Yeah!
Well, you don't have to look very hard for old Darren. I mean, he's probably walking down, one of Toronto's main drags singing Rebel tunes. But but all that aside, Deco, what does this title mean to you? We were talking a little bit earlier about how every title, thinking back, every title has a bit of a different feel. Obviously, there's different context of what happens during that particular season. This title, this victory today and this season feels a lot different than last year. What does this title mean to you? What sort of feeling are you having?
Elated, drunk, very happy with life, and that's basically my feeling. I get what people are saying, that it's a little different because our dearly departed are gone. But you know what? That doesn't bother me in the slightest. Winning the title is what it's all about at the start. You play what's in front of you, and you beat them, and that's it. And as far as I'm concerned, we're the champions, and life is grand, and that's it. I don't know how more to expand on that one.
The point is very, very well made. The angle or the theme that I'm trying to touch on here is the media in general is going to try and spin this in some sort of negative way. I mean, any Celtic success, they're going to try and sort of just put a damper on it. And they're going to say that, without the competition from who are now dead, it somehow was a hollow victory. What my point is, yes.
We had this competition last year, and they were 15 points ahead, and we still came back and feckin' destroyed them. So you can say competition all you feckin' like. Bottom line is, we won today, and we're the champions.
Exactly.
life is grand.
Exactly right. And my point was that, every title is different. So if they're going to make this point that, this was somehow different and it's not the same, well, of course it's not the same. You know what? The treble in 2000 was totally different than the title that we won in 05-06, as was the title that we won in 07-08. And time eternal. Everyone's different.
We won 3 titles under Gordon Strachan, right? And people told me, Strachan's a hun. Strachan this, Strachan's that. It's the worst football I've ever bloody seen in my life. Blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is, he brought 3 titles home.
No question.
Neil Lennon has brought 2 home.
Yep.
And 2 of 10, in my opinion.
I agree.
Our dearly departed are never coming back. In fact, I don't even know if we're gonna make 10, because I'm not gonna go down this road. Well, I'm gonna say it, but we're not gonna talk about it. We won't be playing in the SPL soon enough, because it's the biggest corrupt load of bollocks I've ever heard in my life, and the whole lot of them needs to go. And we will be playing somewhere else in the near future, in my honest opinion. And that is not part of that disclaimer. Not part of Aurora CSC. That is Declan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Deco calling in from Aurora. His opinions are not of the Aurora CSC, even though he is the president of the Aurora CSC. Deco, let me ask you this, because you touched on an interesting point there. Gordon Strachan in charge 3 seasons. Now we're talking about Neil Lennon in charge 3 seasons. What is your impression when you look back on Neil Lennon's time as Celtic manager? Like you touched on, many people had negative vibes about Gordon Strachan. They, said that he wasn't Celtic-minded enough, the football was rubbish, etc. But to your point, you can't argue with the results. I mean, the final 16 twice in the Champions League, and then 3 league titles in a row. Probably, in that final season, it was his time really to leave. But now we're getting into a period of time when Neil Lennon is approaching the equivalent amount of time that Gordon Strachan spent here, and very well may exceed it. What are your impressions of Neil Lennon's time as Celtic manager? Do you look back approvingly? And with that, what are the future prospects for Neil Lennon? Do you see this as being a long-term relationship as Celtic manager for Neil Lennon? Do you see possibly in the next couple of years seeing a situation where he might move on, he might step down, he might be replaced? Give us your thoughts there. Let's give him a grade. Let's give him an assessment. Your thoughts.
I think history will look back on Neil Lennon favorably. I think they'll. I can even use Strachan as an example. At the time, people were like, "Get him out! It's horrible." Blah 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 blah. But as time has gone on, they've kind of looked back and said, "Well, you know what? The football might not have been the May West, but he's starting to get." I think Strachan's starting to get the credit he deserved.
Yeah,
and that's what's going on there. As for Lennon is Celtic through and through. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So it's hard to say anything negative against him. He has plenty of strings in his bow, because he came in when a manager had his hands in his heads, or his hands in his head, and shaking his head at 4-0 down.
Is he a catcher or a pitcher?
There was definitely, he had all the ticks in the boxes.
Is he a catcher or a pitcher?
I like to call myself a catcher.
Oh God, he still can't get it right.
I'm just going to keep doing it to wind you up.
Wind me up.
Yeah.
I love you.
Catcher, baby, catcher. It's all about the catcher. Yeah. This is a family show, okay, so we're not going down that road. Yeah, apart from the fact that I like to curse a lot. Anyway, no,
we're joined now by Benito Santiago.
I don't know who that is. Thanks, but God. Soap on a rope. Anyway, next, as I was saying, I think history will be kind on Neil Lennon. I think he's a Celtic man through and through. I think we'll have him for maybe another season or 2, and then he'll be off ski. He'll go down south, I think.
Well, you even hear from Strachan himself and others that, modern day, it's impossible to have that sort of longevity, especially in the fishbowl that is Glasgow, especially being manager at the tip of the spear for a club like Celtic. I mean, it's just absolutely impossible to be a manager like a Ferguson for 25 years and plus. I mean, it's almost Herculean when you think of it and when you think back to it. I mean, how long can anybody, not just Neil Lennon, but anybody really stand up and sort of weather through this? I mean, it's a Herculean task.
It is a Herculean task, and I mean, every day is your last day. So I think the way football management has gone, it's changed. I mean, Man United came in, or Ferguson came in at Man United, and he was almost fired a fair few times. They came in when Scott started giving out big money, so he was able to get the players that he needed. Now things have changed. You have teams like Man City. I know we're talking Scotland, but you have teams like Man City. Money talks, and that is the bottom line. We are the big fish in the small pond, so we have the money. Will one of the bigger fish down south pull Lennon out? Maybe. Money talks, and the bottom line is, if somebody comes calling, will passion take over the mighty greenback? That is the bottom line. I mean, you have some players that will stay, that in the day played for Celtic because they wanted to play. They didn't care about money, but money is what's going to decide what happens. I personally think Lennon will be there for another 2 years, and then will be Koski.
Deco, let's turn back into the celebration. Let's talk about this season. What was your moment of the season? What was the highlight?
What was the highlight? That's an interesting one. Now that you got me on the spot.
Well, and I want to ask that, and I agree. I think it is an interesting one because there were several, and it's hard to choose from the several. So what goes into your thinking for that?
You've got me right on the fly, and I'm half cut.
That's exactly how I like you.
Yep. Well, you see me volley cut, so there you go. I think I broke your foot at the time.
True, very true. That's quite the leap this time, so I think I'm safe.
Highlight of the season, it realistically has to be Barcelona.
Yeah.
That's the be all and end all.
Yeah.
Barcelona and today are Barcelona number 1, today number 2, and I'd probably say lifting the trophy number 3 will be, if I look back on the 2012-2013 season, that's what I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember Barcelona number 1, today number 2, and lifting the trophy and Neil Lennon dropping in front of the Green Brigade again, number 3. They would be my 3, but I mean, it's been a roller coaster. It's been up and down. Our European form, very good. Our SPL form, it's
shambolic at times.
Very shambolic at times. So, has there been that there? They would be my major 3. That's it. I don't miss their Hun in any shape or any form. I'm glad they're gone. I hope they never come back because they're a miserable shower of banjos. But in the same breath, we know that we're going to win the league, and we know we're going to win the league next year. That's a bit of a catch-22. The lack of competition, to be perfectly honest. So, I don't know. That's really, I suppose, where I think I want to leave it, because I don't.
Wow, he certainly did leave it. Did we lose him?
Oops.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Oh, wait for it.
It's Champions.
Skype finally.
Champions.
Skype finally told me there was a problem with this call. You could have told me that up front, Skype. All right, we'll see if we can get. Is Deco there?
I'm back. What happened?
Oh, I don't know. We lost you. You were in the middle. You were in the middle of talking about champions.
Oh yeah, forget about how this season went. We always knew it was going to be a foregone conclusion, which is kind of sad. But the bottom line is, we are the champions. We won the league. Maggie is dead. Life is grand. And who's your player of the year?
Deco thinks he can fly.
I'm going to fly and break your bleeding foot again.
See, this is what I wanted to ask you. Player of the year. I've already said it. I think Rev agrees with me, but I'll confirm here. My player of the year, and I think he really stamped it today, is Chris Commons. I think that he sort of flew under the radar until very recently, but he's been absolutely extraordinary. He had some very good performances in the Champions League, no question about it, but his domestic form as of late has really been a godsend, especially since Gary Hooper has just gone off the boil, with today as being the exception. He's really stepped in, and he's been extremely effective for us.
Player of the year. Everyone in Canada seems to think it's Charlie Mulgrew. I think
What?
they're all bleeding high, for feck's sake.
Oh my god.
Chris Commons, he's fatter than I am, for God's sake.
Yeah,
No, I'm only joking.
he's the chubby Messi.
I'm only, I'm only joking. No,
Leave chubby Messi alone.
We had a poll in the CSC, and it was fairly tight. It was between Victor. A few people threw in Charlie Mulgrew as well. Now, in fairness,
Yeah, our CSC I think voted for Tony Watt.
well, okay, fair enough.
At least it wasn't like Landry and Guemo. By the way, I didn't have a vote.
Mo Bangura CSC. Here's that.
We vote for the sheriff. I didn't have a vote in this, by the way. But anyway.
Yeah, it was tight. It was between Sammy, Victor, and Chris Commons.
Yeah. I think
And it
Sammy.
went-
I think Sammy is definitely in there with a shout, especially with his performances in those qualifiers. You know, especially those away ties, Helsingborgs, Helsinki, etc. I mean, he was huge. He was really the reason, in my opinion, that we even got into the group stages.
Well, that even goes back to the Neil Lennon thing. Sammy was completely and utterly useless, and I've said to you on the show that he needs to get... he needs to be the catcher and head back to where he came from. But I tell you what... Sorry to all the Greek people out there, I do apologise. Anyway.
He's trying to get some attention.
Did I just piss off all the Greek people?
He shouldn't hit his head on the floor anymore. Deco thinks he can fly.
Is this your way of getting me off a tangent because I've pissed off all the Greek people and I've what have you just played that tune?
I don't know what's wrong with that guy. I don't. But I love you.
Anyway, back to Lennon. As I was saying, there's a manager that got the best out of a player.
No question about it. That's a great point.
And that's the bottom line. For me, it's a tough one. I think I want to say Victor Wanyama, but I don't because he was a startler for us. Chris Commons, without a shadow of a doubt, he had a spat with Lennon. And if you looked at it today, when you looked at Lennon and he was hugging players, he gave big hugs to certain players and just kind of went, yeah, how are you, to other players, which I thought was fairly interesting out of Lennon. But to your point, player of the year, it was a tight one. It was between Sammy, Chris, and Victor Wanyama, and the winner actually came out as Victor Wanyama.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting votes for Victor, with good reason. I mean, he's been absolutely just tremendous this entire season.
Player. He's a Dennis Irwin player.
Yeah.
He's an 8 out of 10 every game.
Yeah.
He doesn't. You know what you're going to get from him.
Yep.
I won't say he's sensational, but he doesn't give you a bad game, for want of a better word. He's Mr. Consistent. 8 out of 10 every single game.
And he keeps on improving, too, which is, that's impressive in and of itself.
Of course.
Certainly, the sky's the limit for him. No question about it. Deco, thanks so much for calling in, pal.
What? Can I not curse anymore?
No, you can't.
You get a 3-show ban.
Yeah,
I get a 3-show ban. Woohoo! I'm in the clear. Happy days. Right, I was about to say I'm gonna pork. That's probably the wrong choice. That's probably the wrong choice of words, considering I'm a catcher. I'm gonna pop a bottle of champagne because we're the champions. Champions, champions. I'm dancing in me basement and I'm drunk. Happy days.
Deco, enjoy your afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yourself a wonderful day, boys. We're the champions. The Huns are dead. Maggie's dead. Fucking life is grand. Good luck, my boy.
Oh, the president of the Aurora CSC, Deco. They broke the mold. Let's give him, another one. This is Deco's song. Obviously, going back to the convention.
I don't know what the hell's wrong with that
He
guy.
has a reputation for flying. He gets up on chairs and just starts diving around. I'm sure for some of the new listeners, you couldn't imagine that, given the past call.
He shouldn't hit his head on the floor anymore. Deco thinks he can fly.
He sure does.
Deco thinks he can fly. I don't know what's wrong with that guy.
I'm really a terrible singer. It's not just... People aren't just winding me up. That's awful. But we love Deco. I need to come up with a new song for him, though. He's not a pitcher. He's a catcher.
Uh-oh.
Well, he said so himself. Were you in the cab with us that one? No, I don't think you were in the cab. So it goes back to Philly. It's myself, my wife, Deco, and I think it was... I can't remember who else was in the cab with us. Might have been Seamus. But anyway, oh, God. So we're driving through, this area of Philadelphia, this neighborhood. They call it the Gayborhood because it's where all the gay bars are. So we're flying through, and we are pissed. I mean, just like off our heads. And, so driving through the neighborhood, and I'm, okay, this is the Gayborhood. And Deco's like, oh, Jesus, I'm a catcher, not a pitcher. It's like, well, we'll just push your ass out here then. Oh, Deco. We love him. So, yeah, fantastic stuff. I think Seamus tried to get in touch in the interim there. So if he's listening in, give us a buzz back because we want to hear from him. I think Yampi's waiting on standby. So everybody get in touch. Let me see if I can get the Skype sorted out here. Deco broke the ice. So Skype lines are open. We'll be on, I guess, until the top of the hour. Or until the call stops. So this show is for you. Seamus, if you're listening, call us back. You know what? I'll just call him. I don't care.
You can always do the Put Me in Coach song. What's that, John Fogerty? Do that for Deco.
Yeah. Oh, that could go in a lot of bad ways. I was going to do like a Larson song version, Like, you're my Deco from Dublin. You make me happy when skies are gray. You said you're a catcher, but you're a pitcher. Hey, Seamus is calling. Thank God. Now calling from the suburbs of Philly, it is the ambassador himself, the Elvis of Donegal, Seamus Cummins. Seamus, hail, hail.
Hail, hail. Champions, champions, ole, ole, ole. What a day.
See, now there's a guy that can sing. I need to get out of the singing business because Seamus calls and he sings like a bird. Seamus, where are you now? Give us the scene.
I'm in the motor driving to go see Dad to celebrate.
Fantastic.
With Ewan here.
Good stuff.
So we went to the old Iron Abbey this morning and had a great morning.
Did you see any Liverpool fans there?
Yeah, some guy named Kyle.
Yeah, weird.
We're giving him pelters all morning.
We love Kyle.
He was wearing his Tony Watt shirt.
I think he sleeps in it.
and then he brought his Liverpool top for the Liverpool match later, and we were just giving him absolute grief and pelters the entire time. Like Celtic are winning the title today, and you're going to be doing a wardrobe change?
No.
Really?
Violation. So, that's a yellow card.
A red card.
Yeah.
Straight red.
Yeah, straight red.
That nonsense.
Yeah, off you go.
The pub was loaded. There was probably about 10 or 12 of us Celtic fans, and then there was a whole bunch of Tottenham Spur fans. And you know that you're in a pub full of people who support Tottenham when you go into the bog and somebody doesn't, flush. So and clogs the toilet.
Ew.
So definitely dirty Tottenham fans.
Wow, is that what they mean when the Spurs go marching in?
Exactly, they go clogging up.
Oh,
more like it.
Lovely.
But we did the Congo. We had the huddle going. They didn't know what to make of us, and good old Vinny from the Molly McGuire CSC led the charge today. It was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant fun.
Fantastic stuff, man. So please, pass along our best to your dad, and you got Ewan with you. Give us your thoughts. Go ahead.
He's in the back seat. He just said, "Sup? What's up?" But,
cool.
Oh, what a day, huh?
Now, give us your thoughts.
A little bit nervous going into halftime. We knew a draw would win the title, but you got to win emphatically to win the league. You know?
No question. No question. I was saying, I mean, let's not just park the bus and try and get a 0-0 or whatever. Let's go after it. Let's win it with some style, and they certainly did that. I mean, it seemed as though it was a completely different game once Izzy came in. I thought he brought a lot more sort of pace and enthusiasm and a lot more of an attacking flair up that left-hand side. And I mean, just the performance from Gary Hooper being right where he needed to be, and an exceptional finish for his first goal with his left foot. I mean, just it's extraordinary to see.
Couldn't agree more. And how about that finish from Samaras?
I mean, just cracked the crossbar in half, didn't he?
Oh my gosh, we went nuts when that fourth goal went in. I was there. One of the boys, Derek Scott, he's on Twitter as Philly Celtic, I think.
Okay.
He called it. He called it at halftime. He goes, "We're going to win this 4-0." It shot out to him because he called it. And that goal from Samaras was just cracking. And all of us broke into ooh-ah Samaras at that point. The Guinness and the Guinness was flowing, and it was a fantastic, fantastic morning. And we're looking forward to going back there. You would have had a blast there.
Yeah.
Some beer selection.
Yeah.
Some brekkie. Oh.
I need to get back up. I need to get back home very, very soon.
Yeah, so I think next time you come up, if you guys can come up for the final, I don't know if they'd be able to get that, though. It has to be on Fox Soccer Plus for them to show it. So
you know what? Let's do that. Let's work out something. Either we go down the Fido, or maybe Rev comes down, and we'll make that happen. Yeah, maybe we'll do a show from Fido again or something.
Yeah, let's get that on the card.
Okay.
I think isn't that Memorial Day weekend?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, well, then giddy up.
Yeah.
We'll have to definitely get something sorted out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's going to be Sunday, I don't care. I'm off on Monday anyway.
Yeah, me too. So we'll definitely have to get something planned and get in the city and have a proper sesh, because we haven't had one since Philadelphia.
Seshy sesh.
Maybe the catcher himself can fly down from Toronto.
He does like a bit of flying.
Does a bit of flying. Unfortunately, they don't have the long weekend that we do, but maybe he can figure something out.
Well,
to get down.
If anybody can do it, it's him.
It is. So, did you have a good crowd at the DC club today?
Yeah, we did. We had about 15 guys, and obviously, like you said, I mean, the first half was pretty nervous, but in the second half, it just opened up. We had the champagne going, and it was brilliant. So, I don't even need to ask you. I mean, it's really coming off of you. The excitement from today and what this title means, and the product of an exciting year and a great season. And now we look ahead, and hopefully we can make the double happen. Before I want to let you go, because I know you're in the car, but before we let you go, who's your player of the year this year? I mean, that's a tough one.
You know what? I got to say Samaras for me.
Why?
Just the way that in the Champions League, he really took control of many of those matches.
Yeah.
I know his injury took him out of the squad, but I just think that he brings something completely different. He is a bit of an anomaly. We never know exactly what we're going to get. Like Deco was saying there, he picked Wanyama, and he always said he's an 8 out of 10, very Dennis Irwin-like in that regard. But I just think Samaras, on his day, just brings a different element that people can't cope with.
Yeah,
and his position is definitely out there on the wing.
No question.
He's for me, I mean, he and Commons probably might be my top two, then maybe Wanyama, but I don't know. Something about Samaras that I just think that he's different class when he's on his game, and hopefully he'll be with us for a long time. And I genuinely believe that he loves his time with Celtic, and I hope that he doesn't go anywhere. Gary Hooper, I think, has completely checked out, although he did have the opening goal today. I'm really not going to be too brokenhearted with him leaving if he does leave.
It's time.
If he does stay, I'll be happy. Don't get me wrong, but any player that wants to leave Celtic for what they think is going to be something bigger and better always kicks himself in the ass. I think the only player that might have left and who really made a name for themselves is Kenny Dalglish.
Well, and I mean, you can also point to Stan. Stan obviously.
Stan, yeah.
And thoughts on
Larson made his name with us.
Yeah, but Larson could play anywhere.
But Larson didn't go to some Mickey Mouse EPL team. He went to Barcelona. I mean, there's a difference.
Very good point. Very good point.
But I mean, Gary Hooper, where's he going to go? I mean, he's not going to be going to Arsenal. He's not going to be going to Chelsea. He's not going to go to Liverpool. He's going to wind up at like West Ham or something.
West Brom.
Which smaller club, and it was funny that there was probably about 30 Spurs supporters in the pub, and they were all saying that if Celtic were a lot of them were saying, hey, if Celtic were in the EPL, they'd probably be the second highest supported team behind United.
Well, I mean, you look at the stadium. It's one of the highest capacity stadiums in all of Britain. The worldwide support is really, unsurpassed. I mean, every city that you go, if you're wearing a Celtic top, somebody's going to yell out, and notice it and be a Celtic supporter themselves, and that's very, very rare. I mean, maybe only a handful of clubs worldwide, not just in England, where you can have that. So it's an iconic sort of deal. And to your point, I mean, I don't think that Gary Hooper is really motivated by any of that. I think that he always looked at Celtic as a stepping stone, as his eyes were always on, the EPL. He's English, and fair enough. But, it's time. It's time for him to go. Obviously he's had his head turned, and if he did feel as though his future was with Celtic and he wanted to commit himself to Celtic in a similar vein or light to Henrik Larsson, then he would have extended his contract by now. But he hasn't, and it's clear that he will be moving on, and it's time. All the best to him, and we obviously thank him for some fantastic performances wearing a Celtic shirt. But Celtic is much bigger than just one player, and we will move on. We will bring somebody else in, and we will continue on.
Absolutely. So, what kind of fee you think we're going to command for him?
By not selling in January, I think we might have lost maybe $1 million. I think we could probably get 5 to 6.
Okay, that's. I was going to say we should. No less than 6.
Yeah, I think 5 to 6. 5 with add-ons. For the potential of 6. I don't think it's necessarily out of the ordinary for him to wind up at Spurs. I mean, you look at Clint Dempsey. I mean, he's going to be on the wrong side of 30 very shortly. So he's not a long-term prospect or project for Spurs. And Gary Hooper, I mean, he has really the prime of his footballing life in front of him. He's a Spurs supporter. So for the right price, I think that he would be attractive for Spurs. But, obviously they're supporters, if you want to call them that. When they're not, clogging toilets in the suburbs of Philadelphia, they're looking for, some of the more upper echelon strikers to bring in and sort of cement their place. But I don't think that would be a bad shout for him to wind up there. But out with that, I think, maybe even Southampton, if they stay up, or a team like West Brom that really thrives on that smaller sort of predatory and the box striker, I think he could do a lot of damage there as well. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think Ewan might have a song for you.
Go ahead.
Ewan, you got a song for us?
Let's hear him.
Come on. He was just singing the Huns were going bust again.
Go on, Ewan. Let's hear it.
He's being. He was just back there muttering that. One last thing. What do you think, Joe Ledley? Someone said to me they think that he'll be off back to Cardiff.
Yeah,
I hope not.
I hate to say this, and I know that the Rev is not going to be happy with this, but I think there's a very high likelihood that he will be off in the summer, and if he does leave, it would be for Cardiff. I think they're going to be able to pay him a wage that we just can't meet. He's only got a year left on his contract, and if we just sort of keep him here, I have full confidence that he'd play his heart out for Celtic for the next year. But do we want to risk getting nothing for him, or do we want to sell him on for pure profit? I mean, let's be honest. We got him on a Bosman. He's on $30,000 a week, reportedly, at this point. I don't think that we'd be able to pay him any more than that. So if Cardiff come calling and they offer $40,000 to $50,000 a week, unfortunately, I think it makes sense for everybody, for him to move on. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that we can come to some sort of accommodation that would keep him at Celtic indefinitely, but we would have to change our philosophy, our wage structure, and the parameters that have really led to the success in the short term. And I'm very unsure as to whether or not that's going to happen.
Yeah, I really do, though, think that he really enjoys his football with Celtic, and he really loves Celtic, and hopefully that he seems a bit of a different type of personality than the likes of Gary Hooper. He just seems like somebody who really loves being part of the Celtic family. So
agreed.
Hopefully hopefully he won't be tempted, and hopefully Cardiff won't make any sort of deal. I'd like to see him get a long-term extension.
Agreed.
But
I thought he
if
did.
it doesn't happen,
He's till 2016.
No, he's got 1 year. Joe Ledley. Yeah.
all right, get her done, Peter Lawwell.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Seamus, thanks so much for calling in. We'll let you get back to the road, but enjoy the rest of your day. Champions, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right, later, lads.
Hail, hail, pal.
Bye-bye.
That is the Elvis of Donegal. If you haven't heard him sing, he sometimes features on the Celtic Dream Show. Big G and the Celtic Dreams crew, usually broadcasting on Friday nights, right here on Spreaker.com. Just search on Celtic Dreams Show, and you can find him on Twitter at Celtic Dreams 12. And he has all the latest news about the show, and he's going to be broadcasting. And Free Galley Boy as well, who I lovingly like to call the Balday of Kirkcalday. Okay, a little Fife humor for you. So shout out to Seamus and the rest of the crew up in Philadelphia. Sounds like it was a fantastic time there at the Iron Abbey in suburban Philadelphia, a place that is very near and dear to my heart. Rev, sounds like maybe we'll get the band back together.
I hope so. I really want to. I mean, it's easiest obviously for you guys and stuff down there, but wherever we go, I'll get on that one road. Haha.
Oh yes, there's going to be good fun. There's going to be girlies.
What?
Sorry, it's a little short circuit humor for you. Just keep striking out. Oh, Dr. Newton, the girlies are checking you out. Number 5 is alive.
You're
Right.
really dating yourself.
Yeah. Thanks, Rev. This is my sidekick here, Ed McMahon.
It's a good movie. I'm kidding. It's just an old movie.
Liam's getting in touch. I'm not fake Kirkcalday. Love you, Liam. So yeah, he has a fantastic show, Free Galley Boy show on Spreaker.com as well, belting out the tunes and fantastic stuff. Yampy, if you're listening, get in touch. We need to hear from the Yamp. We need some Yamp before we wrap things up. We also had another caller, Tom, getting in touch. So Tom, if you're listening, Skype lines are open, and what we're trying to do is get one caller on at a time, because if we do more than that, then the sound tends to get a bit out of control, and we lose people, and it's just a mess. If Yampy isn't going to call, I'm just going to do his fanfare. I don't even care. Should we just do the Yampy fanfare?
Yampy Fair?
Yeah.
Fair away.
The Yampy song.
Yeah.
Wait, hold that. Now joining us from Glasgow, or nearly thereby, it's Jerry McMahon. Jerry, hail, hail, champions!
Good evening, Graham. Hail, hail. Hail to the Rev too. Quickest of calls, Graham. I'm working tonight, and just try to squeeze that call in.
Appreciate it.
While things are quiet.
Good stuff. Did we lose him? Look, nobody grass on Jerry, all right?
What was I going to say?
He's trying to work. I think we lost him. All right. Jerry, sorry about that, pal. Looks like we lost the connection. It's probably because Rev's taking up all the bandwidth.
I'm on the Wi-Fi's.
So, back to Yampy.
Yampy is from South Jersey. He stands about 7'1".
I think he's pretty close to 7'1".
He is just a gentle giant, that is, unless you're a hunt. He calls the show up every week. You know him if you heard him speak. Yampy! Oh yeah, Yampy's got a filthy mouth. Yampy! Oh yeah, Yampy calls it every week.
We're in the 16, you're out. Say goodnight, princess. You're fucking
Now joining us from South Jersey itself, it is Yampy. Hail, hail, Yampy.
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
How you doing, man?
I'm fucking exhausted, dude.
Take it out of you?
Yeah, I gotta stop that shit. I was drinking last night, a little bit of moonshine, a little bit of friggin' that Game of Thrones lager shit. I am just
Dead crows, Yelby.
tired, dude. What's up, Rev?
Hello.
How you doing, man?
Pretty good after this weekend.
Yeah, see, now the Rev's giving me a hard time about dating myself, and this applies. You know, I'm with you, man. You know, anytime I get after it, you know, and I get on the booze, the next day is just absolutely brutal. We're not 21 years old anymore, like the bold Rev.
Hey, I had a rough morning waking up to get the game on the TV, so.
Wah, I had a rough morning. Wah.
Rev's a young man. He can do that shit. I'm old and tired, and I needed a breakfast, and I woke up like 3 minutes before the fucking match started, and I was like, I had no coffee. I'm just a big bitch.
Well, yeah, emphasis on the big. I'll leave the other one. You're far too big for me, for a person like me to offend. What were your thoughts on the performance today? I mean, obviously, you know, in the run into this game, I mean, we've had some pretty dour performances domestically in the SPL. A lot of players not showing up. It really seemed like everything was firing on all cylinders today. We saw a bit of an inverted 4-4-2, bit of a throwback back to the Strachan era. Izagiri comes on in the second half, and that sort of swung things all discombobulated. Look at sometimes, or not discombobulated, but it changed the shape of the team for the better, in my opinion. It looked like, you know, my first impression was, okay, Mulgrew's going to go more central and maybe line up next to Wanyama. Ledley goes a bit further up. More of a 4-2-3-1, but it was more of like a 4-2-2-2, you know, with Ledley and Commons just behind the strikers and sort of switching off between Ledley and Wanyama and Charlie Mulgrew just standing right in front of the central defense, and it worked exceptionally well.
Yeah, I just thought it was a matter of time today. That first half was a little dry, but they weren't finishing opportunities. I mean,
definitely.
Again, that was Celtics game to be had from start to finish. ICT was just going to kind of bunker in a little bit and, you know, see if they could pick their opportunities. But it was, regardless of formation or anything, it was going to be our win today. I was happy with Hooper for once, for a change. Seems like he finally had a little spur in his ass and decided to start playing a little bit.
I like what you did there.
Was he a floating spur? Was that a South Philly suburb kind of thing?
Well, he had a Tottenham Hotspur in his ass, maybe? Or?
Yeah, I learned something new today about defecation and Spurs fans. I'm not sure I needed to know that.
Yeah. Yeah, helpful ammo for our Arsenal supporting friends.
Right, yes. And there are many of them, unfortunate as they may be.
Up the arse!
Rev, you an Arsenal fan?
Hell no.
Oh, that's right, you're a West Ham guy.
He's a West Ham. He's a hooligan, mate. He's got claws and fangs.
Not anymore. I've officially renounced West Ham.
Jesus.
You done blowing bubbles?
No more blowing bubbles. You have more clubs than Jack Nicklaus. Who's your English team now?
Me? Nobody.
I
completely gave up.
Good man.
I can't stand the fucking Prem anyway. And it's just a bunch of overhyped dog shit.
It was coming. It was something that was coming, and then after the whole Di Canio thing, it's like, oh, he might go to West Ham, and then I was like, well, then that's going to be the end of that. And then he didn't, obviously, but then I found out one of their, you know, lounges in, like, you know, their skybox area, whatever. It's the Paulo Di Canio Lounge.
Ah.
So,
everybody who step up to the Paulo Di Canio Lounge.
We're talking about Paolo.
So
I mean, Mussolini. I mean, was he really bad? Was he really bad?
What are you going to bring politics into football, guys?
Mussolini. Was he really bad?
Leave your jack boots at the door.
Look, I don't care who he played for, Celtic included. Anybody that has a tattoo of Mussolini on their chest.
Yeah, it's pretty hard when you have, for the rest of your life, you'll be tagged as the guy who was, like, doing a fascist salute. You know, you can try to talk your way out of it, but you're still the dude who did a fascist salute.
Yeah, nobody wants to be that guy, except for Paolo.
Yeah.
He really owned it.
Yeah, maybe in Paolo world, that, you know, that's not a big deal, but, you know, I guess with the most rational, lucid people with sentient kind of activity going on in their brain, they can fucking rationalize that the guy's a Nazi.
Speaking of rationalizing, let's hear your thoughts. You have a really a really forceful way of expanding on, and bringing things to a simplified. I'm the overthinker. I think about things and I expand it and I go off on tangents. You get to the core of the issue very quickly.
Got to make it easy for the lay person.
Break it down this season for you. What are your thoughts in terms of what does this title mean in the context of the season itself, in terms of the context of Scottish football? What are you feeling about this? Are you excited? Are you content, satisfied? And what was your moment of the season?
Obviously, winning a title is significant. I mean, it's huge. And not having the Huns around is a good thing, too. I mean, they can sit there. They can sit there and whine about how this title isn't as significant because they're not there, but who really gives a fuck what they say anyway?
Very true.
It's an important title, and again, we have we'll be able to qualify for Champions League again, or at least have to go through that whole process again. My signature moment, obviously, would be Tony Watt against Barcelona. I mean, if there's any signature moment, that should be not just maybe like the penultimate moment for this season, but that'll be something that, like I always say, you'll remember that moment till the day you die. I mean, that was seeing him sliding on the grass after scoring that goal. I mean, that was pretty epic stuff there. My player of the year is Chris Commons. I think to me, he was like the engine room for the club. I mean, the team has a different look when he's not pushing the ball around and distributing and kind of making things go. And he also provides, he's an all-around great player. I think that he came into his own this year. And I saw that picture of him today with the champagne bottle. And I look at him and he's kind of like more like buff and everything. It's just like, it seems like he took his game to another level this year. And everybody could talk about, like, you guys voted Tony Watt. That's hilarious for the player of the year.
I didn't vote anything. The club did, just for the record.
I mean, some guys had coming out parties. Forster had a great year, although I think after that injury, whatever the heck that was, he kind of like his game slacked a whole bunch. But, I mean, it wasn't anything that the team couldn't, it wasn't anything dire for the club. Again, Samaras is Samaras. Everybody loves Sammy, But for my money, Commons was the guy this year. The title, to me, is awesome. It means the world to see Celtic do, great things, to see them to get the honors they deserve. We won 44 honest titles. We didn't cheat like other clubs cheated to get their titles. We didn't break the rules. We played by rules. And that's significant. It sets a great example. What example does it set if you support a club that just says fuck the rules and does whatever the fuck it wants and gets rewarded for it?
It says you're a scumbag.
It says not just, I couldn't support a club like that. If you took all the religion, all the other crap out of it, I still couldn't support that club because they're a bunch of cheating bastards. And they kind of just like laugh about it like it's no big deal. If any club deserved in this world to die, it's that club. That's a scummy club. This is a club that's for people and a cause. And I always hashtag that on Twitter, and people and a cause. But it's significant. It's people that stand up for underdogs that support this club. It's people that do things right that support this club. There's a reason that we were blessed to have the Jock Steens of the world, to win the biggest trophy in Europe, and that club didn't. It's a metaphor for all of this. It's like the good team, the good guys get rewarded, and the bad guys get sent down to Division 3. They make movies about shit like that, but maybe not in that, like football context, but about, good guys making out in the end. That's just, I think that's why, me, I'm a 4-for-4 Philly guy. I love all the Philly teams and everything. Got an Eagles tattoo, the whole 9 yards.
Ooh, tough days. Tough days for us these days.
Yeah, it's all right.
Thank God for Celtic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Thank God for Celtic. Oh. You know what? If I didn't have that, I'd be a pretty miserable fucker.
Tough days.
And that's the truth. If you can't enjoy this, like I had a couple of friends that are, not SPL guys kind of like busting my balls a little bit today, and they're like, "Oh, how does it feel to win a trophy that doesn't matter?" And I'm like, "How does it feel to support English football where it's you might as well call that the MUFCPL?" You know, I mean, it's like you sit there and say that our trophy's insignificant. How about a club that could spend like 200 million pounds and whatever, and just steal from other guys, you know, other clubs in their league, like Robin Van Persie and stuff, and just load up. Don't you know, denigrate what I support, because that's an honest league. That's a good honest league. They took a shitty dishonest team and moved them out. That crap, you can buy up where the fuck you want, and it's always going to be Manchester United will still buy out everybody else.
Well, and they still didn't last in Europe as long as we did.
Well, yeah, and that's true too. And there's something to be said for that again. You know, I mean,
for the record, we were in Europe one day longer than Manchester United. It was still a day.
And on what kind? And compare the the payrolls, the collective payrolls of the two clubs.
Exactly. Yampy, the man who you're listening to right now, who's talking so much sense, this is Scott from South Jersey. He goes by Yampy. He's on Twitter at YAHMPY. Let's listen into your moment of the season. This was brought to us by Chris Kuyava of Hail Hail Media on the Paradise Report. Let's listen to this.
What's your name?
We actually haven't seen Chris since that night. I was last seen running down the road. So if anybody sees Chris Kuyava, I think he's got a goatee. Please let his family know. They're worried and they're looking for him. Well,
sounds like he got caught naked on an electrified fence.
Well, I mean that's just unbridled, emotion that you just can't hold in. I mean, I did the same thing. I mean, sitting on my living room couch, there's people walking past my house. I got the doors closed, and I'm jumping up and down, yelling and screaming. I thought, I was thinking, oh God, they're gonna call the cops, thinking somebody's in here getting murdered.
My wife was like, "Will you just shut the fuck up for 30 seconds?" I'm like, "You don't understand. You don't understand. We're being in Barcelona."
That's fantastic. I mean, there's so many moments from the season, and obviously the build up to get into Europe, and it just didn't stop. I mean, the Spartak Moscow. I mean, think about 365 days ago. If you would have told us that we would have won so many games away in Europe, we never would have believed you, ever.
And think about the process they had to go through just to even qualify. I mean, was it like Helsingborg and
Helsinki?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like jump through this hoop, now jump through that.
Well, and think about those games that we won on the road. Where people were singing the hymns. This is the day that we won away. Well, then we won we won a bunch of games away on the road. We beat Barcelona, and we should have got a point at the new camp against the greatest team. Many people were saying that's ever lived, that's ever played together. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
The turning point probably was, I mean, like on a bigger scale, I think for me was like the Spartak Moscow away game.
Yeah, that was big.
Because
Sammy,
up until they got that, up until like what was it? If I remember, it was like Spartak Moscow got like red carded in the 60th or 61st minute or something.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, we were down 2-1.
That's right. That is right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, all of a sudden, it's like they're playing on that shitty turf in that crappy stadium. It looks like it was probably bombed by the Germans in the 40s.
Oh God!
It's just this big, oversized, half-filled stadium, and it's not a real. It doesn't look like a real good football environment at all. And after that 60th, 61st minute with that card, all of a sudden the whole complexion of that game just changed. And it just kind of like snowballed after that, and then you're talking about, the only team that really gave them any kind of like real issue, and it's just, the sport's all about matchups and stuff, was Benfica.
Yeah, that Benfica away tie was always, I mean, it looked like we wasted some opportunities against Benfica at home. I mean, granted, there was a bit of a stalemate in the midfield, and 0-0 was probably the right result. But still, I mean, you would hope that we could get more than that at home. I mean, Benfica certainly wasn't the strongest team in our group.
They're a dirty fucking club.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Out with maybe a Juventus.
Absolutely right.
Benfica was a bunch of dirty motherfuckers. I was just like, oh, are you serious? Like, they're just fucking hatcheting people down. I mean, just grabbing jerseys and stuff. Not to, like, the ECW style of frigging football that Juventus brought, but, I mean, it was pretty damn close. Diving, flopping. I mean, that's, like, the Benfica way. I mean, that works for them. They're what, down to the Final Four in UEFA?
Mm-hmm.
But
well, that makes me, and a lot of people have sort of speculated on that. I mean, it makes you wonder how far we would have gotten if we would have been in the UEFA Cup. I mean, looking back, if you had your druthers, I mean, it's not as obvious of an answer as you'd think. There are some people who are saying maybe in hindsight it would have been better if we went into the Europa League as opposed to, getting into the final 16. For me, every day of the week, I'd have it, the same exact way to do over again.
What was it? The Herman Edwards thing? You play to win the games. You want the spotlight. You want to win. You want to. Why settle for fucking chicken salad when you can have chicken? You want to friggin' do the best you can. I mean, this is Champions League is the big time. You play to win the big trophy.
Look, we're going to get into the knockout stages and then have big puffy coat people come into to Glasgow.
Right. I mean, no, you want to
Mamma
win
mia.
the big trophy, man. That's what it's all about. You look, is it realistic? Maybe not. You'd have a better shot probably at winning UEFA. But again, it don't matter what your budget is. You put a bunch of guys with a lot of heart and some skill, and you never know what happens. I want the big trophy. I don't want the runner-up trophy. Like we have the NCAA basketball tournament. We have the NIT tournament. Now, NIT used to be big back in the day, but nobody gives a fuck about the NIT anymore. You want to win the big trophy, not the second, just the runner-up trophy.
Very true.
The runner-up league trophy.
Yep.
know?
Yeah, very well put.
I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean, our opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but I think mine's pretty well-founded.
What, your opinion or your asshole?
A little bit of both.
Oh, fantastic. Yampy, thank you so much for calling in, pal. Always good to hear from you. You say it like it is, and you've got passion, and you've got the facts behind you. We love hearing from you. Don't be a stranger, and enjoy the rest of the day. Hopefully the Phillies don't get beat by more than 3 runs.
I got work to do. I can't watch that shit.
Yeah,
that'll just make me even more aggravated. It'll take the luster off of the good that this morning has been.
Good point. Don't turn that on.
Take it easy, fellas.
All right, pal.
Have a go.
Hello. That's Yampy. He does say it like it is. You can't say that. You can't say that he doesn't. Did we lose the ref?
No, I'm still here.
Ah, you're quiet as a mouse. All through the house.
I'm just, soaking in the moment.
You're soaking in that homebrew.
I am.
How's it tasting? So it was a Belgian double? You don't even do like regular homebrew, like, a lager or something. You got to get all fancy with that.
It came in the kit, to be perfectly honest.
Did it come with a pocket watch or something?
A what?
Did it come with like a pocket watch?
No. I did this in an IPA.
Fantastic. I think we got Jerry back. Jerry, are you there?
Yes, Graham. Can you hear me now?
Yep, crystal clear. Thanks a lot. Yeah, sorry we lost you there a short while ago.
Oh, Graham, a great day. I'm standing here. I'm working today, and I'm literally like a quarter of a mile from Celtic Park. The sun's shining, and it's great to be champions. I don't think anybody can devalue that.
No question.
Inside the stadium today, I thought it was flat in the first half. Understandably so. Wasn't the best performance. I thought Inverness defended in depth.
Yes.
But I think once we got the opening goal, I thought it was a terrific performance. And, the stadium was rocking, absolutely rocking.
It really was.
As the game went on. And in some ways, I think the decision to ban Lennon only added to that with a kind of 15-minute countdown. And actually, for all I was inside the stadium, when I heard it from your iPad, I heard it 100 times clearer from you in the show than I did inside the stadium. And it was lovely to hear him say that we were the greatest club in the world. I thought that was an incredible comment.
Well, and you get the sense that he really believes it.
Yeah.
I think we lost him again.
Yeah, it must be on like the 3G or something. That sucks.
Signal's probably not the best. All right, Jerry. Sorry we lost you again, pal. East end of Glasgow, signal not the best. I can say that from personal experience.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I thought, when you do hear Neil Lennon say that, you really get the sense that he truly means it, in his heart. And that's something, when you think about where's his career going,
Right.
Where does his ambition lie? I mean, you have to think that it's going to take something absolutely extraordinary for him to leave Celtic, or, God forbid, things, start to go pear-shaped and he's forced to leave. But it's not the type of thing where he's like many of the players, where it's a mercenary situation. Let's not kid ourselves. We know that going in, so you shouldn't pretend like it's anything other than that. To the point earlier where we're talking about you get a different feel from Joe Ledley as opposed to somebody like Gary Hooper. I agree completely with that. I mean, Joe Ledley comes off as much more sort of sincere and genuine, about his feelings and about his sort of intent. I think he's a bit more well spoken. I mean, it's a bit harsh on Gary Hooper. Every time you hear him interviewed, I mean, it's not like you're hearing a poet laureate or anything. Maybe it's a bit tougher for him to express it, but it just doesn't come off like, it's really sunken into who he is. Whereas, with Joe Ledley and especially like Chris Commons, and all the great work that his wife has done, you get a sense that they're more inclined to stay for the long term. And it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I think, Commons and Ledley have been playing longer and they're older than Hooper. I mean, not by a whole lot, but I mean, they are. I know, Commons definitely is. I think him and Sammy are the oldest ones on the team, right?
Yeah, I mean, Commons is up there. I mean, I think he's 29.
29?
Yeah. And Sammy's 28, so,
Right. So yeah, they're the old guys on the team, and I think Commons. I mean, I've had this thought for a while. I was saving it for a time when we got into it. I might as well bring it up now. I think one of the reasons why Commons is a little more sincere, or he just kind of seems like he really wants to play at Celtic, is this is probably going to be his last big shot.
Yeah.
He's. I mean, I don't. Not going to say he's going to finish out his career in hoops. He might, you never know, but probably not, the way, modern football goes. But this will be his last big shot, if he goes in 2 years, whatever, however long he stays, he might come to the MLS, he might go to, some other, or Australia, or, a developing league or something like that. And he'll just kind of chill and retire, and that'll be it. Ledley's still young, but I think he's got, him playing in Wales and stuff. He just kind of has a little bit more of a, he kind of, his career was more of a nurturing career, if that makes sense. Like he kind of had a little more attachment maybe to the teams that he's played prior to Celtic. And Gary Hooper, and I don't mean to, make it sound negative, but he's probably just playing to play, and he doesn't really care too much and kind of sees it more professionally than maybe say like a labor of love type of thing.
Yeah, I just retweeted an article SkySports.com published talking about Joe Ledley's comments after the game today, and he is quoted as saying, he loves it at Celtic and obviously wants to stay. He goes on to say, I think most of the players do want to stay, but you just never know with football. Anything can happen, but it would be good to keep the squad together and see what happens.
Right.
He's going to sit down with the club at the beginning of next season, but there's nothing new with his own situation. So, like I mentioned before, I mean, the logic of it is he's on a ton of money right now, and that is a product of getting him on a Bosman. We didn't have to spend anything in order to get him.
Right.
It's obviously just a wee bonus for him to come north and give him a bit extra in terms of wages, but he's going to want to see a commensurate bump in pay as a result, with good reason. I mean, he's been fantastic for us, but if Cardiff come calling and they're offering, you said he feels a connection to the clubs that he's played for. I mean, he's a Cardiff guy. came up through their system and came to Celtic from Cardiff. And if they come knocking and are going to offer, in the order of 40 to 50 a week, I think that's an offer that he's going to take, unfortunately.
And I can't blame him for that. I mean, whatever respective sport I follow, if I ended up going and playing that professionally, and I had a chance to play for, my childhood team or just, a team that I really got into, that would be a dream, and some people luck out and have that opportunity. So, I mean, I can't fault him. If he gets that opportunity, take it and run with it.
Yeah, no question. But it's an interesting topic as well. There's sort of a category of players. I mean, you sort of, you try and imagine the players who may see out their career. You sort of speculate. And there's players that they're only there for a couple of years and then they're moving on to other things. Gary Hooper being one of them. And then there's other players where, you feel as though their value to another club or what another club would be willing to pay for them doesn't even come close to their value at this club. And I think that they would never even be featured in the same sort of way. Not to say that they're not good enough for another club, but that they wouldn't be played in a particular way that suits Lennon's style. I mean, I think Charlie Mulgrew is probably one of them. Right. The Scotland Player of the Year last year, and it's interesting that there weren't any clubs that came calling, from England. And the fact of the matter is he doesn't have the pace. He's not exceptionally big or I mean, he's fantastic with in dead ball situations. His service is quite good at times, but he doesn't offer that sort of power and pace combination that many of the English clubs are really looking for and
Right.
put up there at the top of their list. But what he brings to us in certain circumstances and in certain situations, I think is extremely valuable. He grew up a Celtic fan, and I could see, out of all the players that we have right now, I could see him spending his entire career as a Celtic player. I mean, another player, Paddy McCourt. Fortunately, from my opinion, I liked seeing him get a run out today. Obviously, nice to see, but if he went to some English club or someplace else, I'm not so sure that he would ever be able to feature. Mm-hmm. In the same way. I mean, obviously, it's diminished considerably, but it certainly wouldn't be the same if he went someplace else. And Chris Commons, I think, is probably a similar type. Not to say that he's not good enough or that it's equating the way that Celtic plays to what I'm going to compare to, like a mid-level championship side. But the way that Chris Commons plays and could fit into a side, I don't think would be ideal or optimal for even a mid-table Premiership club. But he excels with Celtic, not just domestically, but as we've seen in Europe as well. It's an example of Neil Lennon getting the best out of players. And we talked about it today ad nauseum with regard to Sammy. He's been played up at the tip of the spear, sort of lone striker. He's been played in a partnership, which I think is his worst sort of position. And Neil Lennon got the best out of him by pegging him to the left-hand side and having him slash in right there at the last second and driving defenders absolutely nuts. He got the best out of a player who, I was jumping up and down from the rafters yelling for us to sell.
As was I. 2.5,
3 years ago. And yeah, exactly. I mean, there were so many people that were in the same position. And now he's in the conversation for a Player of the Year nod. And we're just sort of lining up all of the contributions that he had this season. It's really been a journey. It's been an upward trajectory that, looking back on that, the end of February, in 2010, with Tony Mowbray with his hand in his heads in the dugout at St. Mirren Park, I never could have imagined, that it would come completely full circle like this. So it's really to the credit of Neil Lennon, what he's been able to do and how he's been able to grow things. And fingers crossed we can continue this trajectory. Obviously, it's one thing to build a team. It's quite a different situation to try and rebuild the team. And I think that a rebuild is pending. Some of these players that we brought in that first season, Gary Hooper, Joe Ledley, that have been so influential in our fortunes and our outcomes are going to be leaving. And it's going to be a tall task considering the time parameters that we have to try and replace them in the time frame that we have and have them bed into the system and continue on with all this success. That's why, in my opinion, the next 4 weeks is going to be absolutely crucial because we are going to need. I'm convinced that at some point we are going to need some of these young players to slot in that sort of transitional phase, if not, sort of taking the mantle themselves. I want to see Tony Watt. I want to see Atajic. I want to see Paul George. I want to see Joe Chalmers. I want to see Harrison Frazier, Jackson Irvin, Tom Rogic. These players who have been brought in, who have been pointed to as the future, who we've seen not feature at all throughout the spring. Give the players who are embedded in the starting 11, give them a break. And, let's see what we have with the kids. And not just that, but help them along. Help them to develop so that we have some cover in that transitional phase. And hopefully they can kick on from there and cement their place. So next several weeks are going to be interesting. One announcement, I'm not going to be around next weekend, so my wife and I are going to on a little holiday. We'll just say that. So yeah, we're going away. So Rev, you're more than welcome to do the show by yourself, but I will not be available. So you know what I was thinking? What would be fun though, and maybe you can do this, or I'm going to volunteer you. You know what I was thinking would be cool is if we could do like a nightly news broadcast, maybe like 10 minutes, like 10 or 15 minutes, almost like the Hoop Scoops, but on a daily basis, where you get like the best 3 links of the day or the most sort of common links, and don't give any commentary, but just sort of read it out, like read the quotes of the day or what happened. Wouldn't that be cool? We could get some
interesting, something I could look into.
We could get some like newsy, sort of jingle to open it up, like, and like do like Celtic News Nightly. I'm the Rev. Today, Neil Lennon, said poo. When interviewed, he said, quote, poo. Or, like whatever.
Something I could look into, yeah.
We could talk about transfer rumors. We could talk about,
Right, I was going to say, right now, not quite a whole lot more going on.
Well, but when you think about it, you go to Celtic News Now, and there's all sorts of links. Jamesy's got a hamstring pull. it could be 2 minutes, whatever. But it would be something where, if you were in meetings all day, if you're on the road all day or whatever, you could check in and just, sort of get a summary of whatever the links are. There's links, all throughout the day. Yampy's in the chat room calling you out. He's like, Rev's like, no.
No, I was going to say I can actually use a service like that.
All right, fine.
Myself.
I'll get somebody else. Forget it.
Fine.
I'll get somebody else. It's okay. If you're interested.
Why doesn't Yampy do it?
Do you want Yampy doing that?
And then do like the everyman. You know what really grinds my gears?
No, because then you're getting into the commentary. I want it to be news, like Celtic News Nightly. Yampy's going to get on. Yeah, this fucking guy comes on and he interviews Len and like, what the fuck is your problem? And you can kiss my ass. No, we need like the newsman. We need a bro call. All right, fine. You don't want to be the bro call. I'll get it. Anybody that's interested, BTW Celtic Show. It's a Twitter. Get in touch. You can read the news. Rev doesn't want to do it.
Bro, your call.
He's playing FIFA. You'd be good at that. All right, look.
I'll roll it around in my noggin and see what happens.
All right. Okay. All right. Don't jump at it. Let me sweat.
All right. I'll wait for you to write a number on a piece of paper, slide it across the table.
Is that how it's going to be? Write a number on the table. You know what the number is going to be? This is how much you're going to pay now. We make no money. It's a labor of love, but people like it, so we'll do it. Yeah. So, with that being said, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you to everybody who called in today. 2 hours. Strong championship show. Deco got in touch. We got a call from Yampy. Good stuff. Jerry's calling in from work. We're feeling it. So now it's on to the double. Doesn't sound like there's going to be a show next week. I don't think the Rev's up for flying solo, but we'll be back probably in 2 weeks' time, I would think. And I don't even know who we're playing then, but really doesn't matter, does it?
Motherwell's next week.
Yeah. That doesn't matter either.
Womp womp.
Although I do like beating Stuart McCall. Looks like a Shetland pony.
I was going to say, it is awful haircut, too.
Yeah. Looks like a pig that got stung by bees. Bloated. What is it with all the ex-Huns? They all wind up bloated. Like just big fat blobs of mess.
Well, there you go. You answered your own question.
Just fat. Just fat, bloated mess. Ugh.
They're all on the alley diet.
Terry Butcher, fat, bloated mess. Stuart McCall, fat, bloated mullet. Ally McCoist, beached whale.
And that's being kind. That's unfair to whales, really.
Yeah, whales can swim. I'm pretty sure if you dropped Ally in the River Clyde, he'd sink like a stone. For a little while, anyway. Well, we wind up the Huns. That's what we do. Or the zombies, or whatever the hell they want to be called now.
We don't even know. They don't even know.
Who cares? Division 3.
For life.
Division 3 for life, yo. All right, Rev. Good stuff. Thanks for calling in. And thank you to everyone who's listened, as always. And, we're going to take a week. I'm going to go away. I'm not going to specify where. I'm just going to be away. But the hint will be I'll probably come back with a little bit of a suntan.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be good. Once again, SPL champions, number 2 of 10. 2 in a row, on our way to 10. Get in there. And taking us out, as always, is Shane McGowan and the Pogues. Thanks again, everybody, for listening, and to all the callers, and spread the word. Stop listening to Super Scoreboard. Now. Stop it. Because we have our own deal now. Hail, hail, and keep the faith. We'll talk to you soon.
The island, it is silent now, but the ghosts still haunt the waves. And a torch lights up a famished man who fortune could not save. Did you work upon the railroads? Did you ride the streets of crime? Were your dollars from the White House? Were they from the 5 and dime? Did the old songs start to cheer you? And did they still make you cry? Did you count the months and years? Or did your teardrops quickly dry? I know it was not to be on a copping ship. I came here and I never even got so far that they could change my name. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean to a land of opportunity that some of them will never see. Fortune prevailing across the western ocean, their bellies full, their spirits free. They'll break the chains of poverty and they'll dance. In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand on Broadway, like the first man on the moon. And a blackbird broke the silence as you whistled, it's so sweet. And then Brendan Behan's footsteps, I danced up and down the street. And we said goodnight to Broadway, giving it our best regards. Took our hats to Mr. Cohen dear old Times Square's favourite bird. Then we raise a glass to JFK and a dozen more besides. When I got back to my empty room, I suppose I must have cried. Thousands are sailing again across the ocean with a hand of opportunity, just tickets in a